Yeah, so you read the title, right? And I can't believe that we're making this video. This might be the most out there crazy title that I've ever put for a video, honestly. I mean, I've made hundreds if not thousands of videos in my time here on YouTube. And I know I've said this quite a few times, but this is blatantly one of the most ridiculous, stupid, just dur takes I've ever heard in my life. The amount of privilege that has to come in your life for you to be able to even consider having a take like this is ridiculous, and I'm so sick and tired of seeing this comparison be made literally every single place on the internet. I don't know if I'm the only person who notices this, right? But it seems like every time there's something on the internet, right? People will, of course, begin to argue about it, and it somehow devolves into an argument about Adolf Hitler. It eventually gets to that point, right, where, let's say you're arguing about croutons and salad, right? Well, eventually someone will start arguing about the manufacturers of the croutons and salad, and at that point, someone will bring up, well, Kraft actually manufactures the croutons and those salad, and you know who owns Kraft? First name, last name. He's the CEO of Kraft, and he's one of the world's most evil billionaires. He's basically the next Hitler. It's something that happens so common on the internet that there's basically like a scientific law that has come about because of this. And it's called Godwin's Law or Godwin's Rule, which is basically a rule that in Nazi analogies, which is like an internet adage asserting that as an online discussion grows longer, the probability of a comparison involving Nazis or Hitler approaches 1. So when it begins, it's 0. And as that conversation creeps on, someone's going to end up bringing it up and bringing it to 1. And Cyberpunk has been one of the most hotly discussed topics on the internet over the last few weeks. So it was only a matter of time before one of these journalists, who have no idea what they're talking about, who have no idea what they're saying, who got some worthless fucking degree and are working a terrible job at some shitty, printing press, hole in the wall, decided to say something stupid. And that finally came today, folks. So the good folks over at Paste Magazine, which God only knows what Paste Magazine is, I can't imagine that this is some fodder of intelligent content, but they decided that they were going to launch an article today called, quote, Cyberpunk 2077 is Game of the Year in the same way that Hitler was Times' Man of the Year. Okay, no, it's not. So first and foremost, before we even really get into the article and talk about this whole subject at large, Game of the Year and Man of the Year are not the same thing. Game of the Year, we're talking about a fucking entertainment product, right? We're talking about a video game, something that influences video games. Man of the Year is someone who influences society, humanity, progresses our evolution in some way, develops our culture in some way, affects literally the fucking function and the fabric of how we operate. Those are not even close to the same thing. You're comparing apples to oranges, okay? Sure, maybe you're bearing the same title for two completely different things, but they're not the same thing. So it's a stupid comparison. It would have been a dumb comparison if you were comparing a video game to Nelson Mandela, to Kanye West, to Donald Trump. The conversation doesn't even fucking make sense. It's that stupid. It doesn't make sense. Why would you have done it? Of all people, why of Adolf Hitler? Okay, so, let's go ahead and just kind of dive into this whole subject. CD Projekt Red, the people behind Cyberpunk 2077. Keep in mind, this is a Polish game company, okay? So, if you know anything about history, Hitler kind of brutalized the Polish, you know what I'm saying? Poland and Hitler are not really two terms you want to put together when you're talking about things, because there's a lot of fucking dark history there, right? So it's even more ridiculous and honestly disturbing the fact that you would make this comparison in the first place if you know anything about history, because you're talking about a group of people that made a game from Poland, okay? This is one of the worst figures in history for this group of people that you're now comparing their product to because their game fucking didn't launch well. Like, where is the necessity in this? You know what I'm saying? Sure, I've been very openly critical of Cyberpunk 2077. Do not get me wrong. It has not had a good launch. There has been a lot of misled customers from the corporate side of CD Projekt Red. There has been a lot of problems, and they need to be addressed. But does CD Projekt Red deserve to have their product compared to Adolf fucking Hitler? No. Not only is that historically inaccurate and ridiculous, it's horrible to even think about saying something like that to a Polish group of people, right? And I love this because this article, okay, I'm not even going to spare you guys the fucking torture of going through this article. It is a worthless article. This is one of the worst articles I've ever read in my life. Essentially what they basically have done, they've watched like one or two Optimus videos and they have bullet pointed a bunch of the shit that went wrong. And then added this paragraph this part of this paragraph I'm about to read you here, right here. Cyberpunk 2077 is the game of the year in the same way Hitler was Time's Man of the Year in 1938. Not as an award or accolade, but as a warning and admonishment to the rest of the world. And here's where they try to get out of it. And no, we are in no way comparing a bad game to history's greatest monster, but if you're looking for an example of where a quote award isn't really an award, Time kind of set the standard back in 38. Okay. Yes, you're quite literally comparing a video game launch to one of the worst historical events that has ever taken place. You literally did that in the fucking title of the article is, and I quote, Cyberpunk 2077 is the game of the year in the same way that Hitler was Times' Man of the Year. You are directly comparing the two. There is no language that separates the two. I don't know if you, and this is the thing, as a journalist, you're supposed to know English, right? I'm a fucking YouTuber at the age of 20. I dropped out of college, okay? You're supposed to be sunning me on this one, right? There is no language in that divides any of that gives any difference, any clarity between those two things. You are making a direct, unified comparison between these 2 points. I don't know what they do in journalism school. I don't know if they just sit them down and let them fucking color with crayons for 4 years and give them a piece of paper with some tape that says you did it. But this is horrible. This is just fucking garbage, you know? And it's not that I'm particularly offended. I'm not saying that they shouldn't have the right to say this. I'm saying that they definitely should be criticized for saying something so fucking stupid and being so blatantly ignorant to some of the most commonly known history in the world, especially stuff that hasn't even been 100 years ago. So, journalism has taken quite the fucking hit, I would say, in the last, God knows how long. Journalism hasn't been journalism since I was alive, that's for sure, but imagine how privileged of a life you must live, right, where you can sit down at a computer in the year 2020, eat 3 hot meals a day, and you can write something like, this video game, this piece of entertainment's launch went poorly, so poorly, I'm going to compare it to a literal genocide, a brutal dictator who believed in racial superiority, to a man who ordered the murder and execution of millions upon millions of people, to a man who started one of the most brutal conflicts in human history, to a man who literally directly altered the entire course of human history with the horrible actions that he took against the people of Europe, and then have the ability to send that out. Imagine your life being that fucking privileged. And these are the people who talk about like how oppressed they are and like how bad they have it, because journalists recently have been, oh, our papers are dying. Why is journalism dying? Why don't people read us anymore? Why are all our websites dying out? It's because of shit like this. It's because of your stupid fucking takes like this. Because you're so out of touch with reality that you write ignorance like this. Absolute fucking fodder. I wouldn't even, if this was in print, I wouldn't even burn this for warmth. I'd rather freeze to death than to have this literally keep me alive. That's how piss poor this is. It doesn't even fundamentally work as journalism. Like I said, they quite literally, I'm almost so certain that I'd almost be willing to put money on it. What they did, they watched a couple YouTube videos, or they read an IGN article, and they just quite literally bullet pointed it, and then added that fucking stanza in there that said, oh, this isn't what I'm doing, even though this is directly what I'm doing. So I tried to go to the senior editor at Paste Magazine, who is the person who wrote this. I tried to go to his Twitter account to see if he usually has completely fucking stupid takes. Of course, his checkmarked account is protected, and you have to be following him to see his tweets, because, you know, as a journalist, right, you should definitely have your tweets protected so only select people can see what you as a journalist are saying. I feel like that's not a coincidence, but yeah, so I can't see if this is a 1 in a million take by this guy or what's going on here, but like I said, this is like a common thing that happens on the internet, and I'm so tired of seeing it. Like, can we as a collective on the internet stop it with the stupid fucking Hitler comparisons, please? Like, if you know anything about history, there is very few things that pale in comparison, if not surpass, what happened in Nazi Germany. Like, the fact that people compare, like, modern-day America or, like, modern-day Europe or like any of these things, which all have their flaws. And like even yesterday, I just fucking railed on and on against the US government about how shitty it is, how brain dead, the people who defend what they do are. As bad as it is, it doesn't even come close. You know what I'm saying? So the people who make these comparisons really need to stop. Because not only are you just blatantly ignorant to history, what you're actually doing is you're devaluing that history. Because when you're constantly making these stupid fucking comparisons, trying to pretend like a bad video game launch is equivalent to Time giving someone Man of the Year in 1938 because they saw the brutalization coming of what he was doing, because it was clear what he was doing to pretty much like half the world, and nobody was stepping in yet because of all the other treaties and shit in the past, and no one wanted to get in his way and start another big fucking conflict. When you're comparing those two situations, all you're making it look like is, oh yeah, that shit wasn't that significant back then, because why didn't they just day one patch it like they would with Cyberpunk? Can we please stop it with this stupid shit? You know what I'm saying? Let the important history be history and focus on the actual issue and just talk about how shitty the release of this game was. You notice that I made several videos talking and chronicalizing all of the different situations without making a comparison to Hitler, because it's fucking stupid. So with that being said, thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're brand new around here on the channel, follow me over on Twitter and Twitch at @SubToOptimus, make sure to check out Shop Opti down below. Thank you to my channel members, your support helps my channel tremendously, and until my next video guys, this is Optimus, well, just confused that this was even said, and signing out.